Matt Lenihan for Boxing Social in association with Empire Fight Store and our Kings. Been joined by Gareth Davies. Gareth, this will be the last interview of 2024 unless Lewis pulls something out the bag. How are we doing, mate? A few.
What, young Lewis Hart, you mean?
Young Lewis. Young
What's
Lewis.
he likely to pull out of the bag in the next few days with me then?
Fuck. Not a clue. I mean, just in terms of interviews, but obviously it's
Could he have
getting
a
close to
rant
New Year.
about my scoring, or could he? I don't know. What could he do?
Well, I haven't spoken to him about that yet, but he may well do. Look, how's things, bud? We're a week or two removed from the madness, which is Riyadh season, and a huge event. Lots of talks about scoring in the main event, and obviously in some of the fights on the card. But how's things been, buddy? Anyway.
Very good, thank you. Very good Christmas, and I'm looking forward to a very prosperous new year in the fight world, in the boxing world.
Yeah, definitely. Look, we'll lightly touch on them that card, and then we'll move into this year because there's a quick calendar. Like there's fights coming up very fast, which is I think it's refreshing. You don't normally see so much happening in a January, but it's happening. Um, I want to start with the Dave Allen Johnny Fisher stuff, please, just so we can get this out of the way. Because I think everybody's seen the sort of exchange between yourself and Big John. I also saw the interview with Coogan and Eddie Hearn, and Eddie's claims that Talk Sport, yourself, Spencer, were over the top. Just explain from your point of view in terms of why you thought the scores were, I think you used the word disgraceful in terms of how they were
Yeah.
scored, because Eddie was saying, well, it can't be over because there was only like 1 point in it, but is it because in your eyes the rounds were just that clear on who had won? Just explain from your point of view.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen the Eddie Hearn interview. I did listen to him doing Kiss FM on when was it? Boxing Day. He was very good. I haven't seen what he said on there. Obviously, he's going to defend his fighter, Johnny Fisher, his only heavyweight, in the win column at the moment. Well, as I say before, I've watched the commentary back, and I thought at the time the judging was disgraceful because I thought Dave Allen won clearly, whether you won it by 1 round, 2 rounds, or 3 rounds. He won the fight. That's taking nothing away from the courage or determination or chin or heart or resilience of Johnny Fisher, which no one criticised Johnny Fisher at the time anyway, purely the judges. So the scenario that I found myself in when I was on an IFL TV interview, and Coogan had said John Fisher wasn't happy with it. Big John Fisher wasn't happy with the comments. I was surprised um, how emotional and angry he was about it, particularly towards me, because I think he should be grateful that the judges gave his son the decision more than anything. And I'm pleased for Johnny. I'm disappointed for Dave Allen. I thought he won the fight, and that's it. The insults are they're just irrelevant, you know. I did think at the time, all I said was that it was disgraceful judging, and I think it was. So I'd like to apologise for absolutely nothing on that. And as you know, as regards, I think I think when parents are involved, of course, it's their child. So I do understand that as well. I mean, I'm not stupid. I do
Mm.
understand people's parents are living it with them. It's their flesh and blood. So I do understand, but I'm not offended by it. Um, and I think John Fisher got something off his chest, and that's fine by me. It doesn't affect my life.
I think one thing that you were keen to pick up on, and I think quite a lot, everyone was, and I think it's something that maybe um, Johnny Fisher, obviously the fighter, he will take more out of this than maybe some of his wins because you know yourself when you go in the levels, and obviously Dave Allen's, there's question marks over Dave, but before he gets in a ring, but look, he showed up and he offered something different, but we actually saw what Johnny was like under pressure, under fire, when he has to get dragged into the trenches where he can't just go over and bowl someone over and around. And he showed a lot of heart, a lot of guts, and that will, although you don't want too many of them if you can avoid it,
No.
sometimes it's better to learn early on than as you go up, and it'll stand him in good stead, if you think, moving forward.
Yeah, it will. I mean, there were two left hooks in the fifth round that hurt him. And what he did was stayed with it and showed that he can stay in the trenches. He was hurt. He battled his way through a lot of hurt there in that fight. And as I said earlier, just showed a lot of resilience and showed that Dave Allen's been in with a lot of world class operators, remember? So
Yes.
or several world class operators.
Yes.
And he's a very he did what he said he was going to do, which was I'm going to show Johnny a lesson. I'm going to teach him. He's underestimating. I don't think Johnny was underestimating him. I hasten to add, because I did speak to Johnny before the fight, and he was clearly in very, very good condition as well. But he was hurt. But it's heavyweight boxing, and I think a big punch can change things in a fight. So yeah, we you know. No one, even Johnny himself, as he says, was he on a Stoke on a wet Wednesday night or something?
Yeah. On a cold
Stoke
Tuesday night.
Stanley Matthews played for Stoke. Remember, so
He
Stanley
did.
Matthews. They were a very, very fine team at one time. Very,
Yeah.
very fine team.
Yeah.
Not that I know my football history that greatly, but Johnny being a historian might look into that. But yeah, we don't know what level Johnny can get to, whether it's British or European or a world title one day. We don't know, but there's certainly lots of young heavyweights in the UK to test himself against.
I've just one of the things. Obviously, the rematch was talked about. I know Eddie said, "Look, they both make a lot of money doing that. I think that's the right decision to make." He could do it. He says, obviously the Copper Bosch, and he'd be interested to test the waters maybe at the O2 where Johnny's pulling power, and obviously depending on what undercard you have. But in terms of if you were guiding Johnny Fisher, is that the right move, or do you have one in between to sort of say, "Look, get that, maybe out your system, or do you dive straight back in there and say, no, look, you should be beating a Dave Allen? What do you do there?"
Well, I think they've got options. They could do a David Adelaide. They could do a. I'm trying to think who else out there at the moment. I wouldn't put him in with Moses Itauma. I wouldn't put him in with Fabio Wardley. I wouldn't put him in with. I wouldn't even put him in with Derek Chisora. But that I think a rematch. And Johnny to get behind his jab a little bit more and look, like you said, he will have learned an awful lot from those 10 rounds. And why not capitalise while the going's good? I don't think Johnny's going to have a long, long, long career in boxing. I don't see him as still doing this when he's 35. And if they can certainly sell out the Copper Box. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But maybe they could go for an O2 Arena fight, and it's good. It's good in the sense that it is set up for something now. I'd go for the rematch.
Yeah, I like the rematch. Two guys who it was refreshing after the fight when you see someone go through like a war kind of thing, and they're both very likable,
Oh, they're
personable,
total gentlemen, the pair of them as
man of the
heavyweight.
people, like men of the people kind of vibes. And Dave, I remember I interviewed him at 6 in the morning, and he was talking to me about everything. And you saw him and Johnny embracing the hotel, and I just thought, you know what, that's what it's about. It's good.
Yeah.
Boxing can be good at times. Look, Usyk Fury. Obviously, we're seeing the aftermath of this now, and a lot of opinions on the scoring. It's amazing how many diverse opinions I'm hearing on this scoring from the AI judge, which I thought was a bit wild. If I'm honest, the
AI judge
scoring.
was a disgrace.
I mean, when I heard that, I thought, that's it
Yeah,
seems
but
so
it's gone on
harsh.
punch stats, hasn't it? It's gone on punch stats.
Yeah,
It's gone on.
rather than yeah. Just sort of in the wake of it now, in terms of where both men go, I often said it in the build to the fight. If Usyk does this, you look around and almost go, "You've done it." Like, what is the fight for him to like mentally go? You know what? And get out of bed and do the miles for that because you've got a Moses Itauma who's on the trajectory going up, who's maybe a few fights off that. Is he interested in a Daniel Dubois rematch or a Joseph Parker? Do them names tickle him? There's a third fight with Fury, like get him. What would get Usyk out of bed? Is it an Opetaya stepping up? In your mind, what do you think happens with him next?
No fight at the moment for Oleksandr Usyk. Long rest till the summer. Um, yeah, but maybe the winner of Parker and Dubois, so he regains the undisputed if he can beat the winner of that. Daniel Dubois is more of a challenge now than he was when he defeated him the first time in Poland, because of what he's produced and what he's come through. Joseph Parker, he's never faced. If Joseph Parker looks amazing against Daniel Dubois, then that's a viable fight, and it's perhaps one that Usyk might fancy. Joe is not the biggest puncher in the world. He's not particularly a knockout merchant.
No.
And Usyk might fancy outmaneuvering him. On the scoring, I haven't watched the fight back.
Me either.
No, I just think I had it 6 rounds to 5 to Usyk and 1 drawn. If I'd given the first round to Fury, I'd have scored it a draw. I think it's possible to score it a draw on 5 swing rounds, because there were about 5 swing rounds.
So many swing rounds, and I think
there were. Well, the judges they agreed on 7. All 3 judges agreed on 7 of the 12. Okay, so if you look at their swing rounds, that could even have gone to. That could even have gone to one 118, 112, 118, 113. So there were a couple of rounds there that you could easily score 10-10.
Well, that's the thing, and I think that's from ringside. I never really scored an even round ever. I normally just give it one or the other. But then I was watching it going, like, especially round 1, you're looking going, Jesus, that was close.
That's why I scored it at 10-10. So, I just couldn't separate them.
So there's a few there, but I think
when I look back on the generality of the fight, Matt, I see Usyk having the better of the battle. That's not how you score a fight, of course. No. But in my mind, Usyk slipping out of being of Fury trying to lean on him was very successful. They both gave an enormous amount in the fight. It was another exhausting fight, more technical than the last time.
Yeah.
And I thought Usyk made Fury miss quite a lot as well.
Did Tyson Fury, in your opinion, perform better or worse than the first fight?
No, better, but definitely better than the first fight. And it was more of a. But so did Usyk.
Yeah.
But I think he gave as good as he got. He gave as good as he got to the body this time. He was more successful with body shots himself. I think, it just is what it is. Usyk won the second fight. And I thought, if you saw the swing rounds to Usyk, then, and you saw him scoring, then 16-12 is fine. But I had it 115, 114.
Yeah, I don't think that's an unfair scorecard at all. Do we see Fury jump in with Joshua next? Do we need to see them have fights in between? What's your sort of state of play on that? Because I think everyone's sort of now going, well, you both, but they're both coming off defeats. So do we need to see them, like, does it need to be for something anymore? Do we just say push everything away and just both of you now go get your money kind of thing? What is it now? Do they both go for that next?
Well, I think, the narrative that is around at the moment in terms of independently of us are that Eddie Hearn is pushing very strongly that this is still a massive fight for British fight fans, and that it should take place, and it should take place for both men and for the fans. I think that what he's purporting is also being pushed out there by, I've seen it on Turkey Al Sheikh's social media platforms as well. Frank Warren's narrative is, we'll let Tyson decide what he wants to do next, which is what he always says about Tyson. I think I could see Tyson enjoying an ice cream yesterday, though, in Morecambe, out with Paris. I think it was yesterday or the day before. Good to see him relaxing with the family. I think it's probably going to happen this summer.
Yeah, I get that
don't
feeling.
really see anyone else for them to fight right now.
No.
Initially, like coming off the back of Saudi Arabia and landing here and doing a few interviews, I was saying that my feeling was that Joshua should get in the win column before they fight. But does he really need to? Probably not. It's still a big event. It's not as big as it was,
No,
or would have been at one time, but it's still a big event.
it's still a monster in terms of a commercial aspect,
Yeah.
isn't it? Though.
It will still get watched by many, 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 many people. Um, and, they're both more diminished than they were
Yeah.
when they were going to fight in 2018, 19, was it?
Yeah, I remember the fight being locked in originally. I can't remember
No,
when it was.
21, actually. I think it
21.
was 21.
Just after the pandemic. I think everyone
Yeah, it
was sort of.
was. Yeah, and then Deontay Wilder won his case.
He did. He did. What could have been all them years ago? What could have been? But
Absolutely.
anyway, I think
Well,
we'll
it's a
see it
travesty
anyway.
for Joshua if he doesn't get to fight Wilder or Fury in this era.
It's madness, really,
Yeah.
when you look
And
at it. But
Ngannou has fought Fury and Joshua.
he probably fight Wilder as well before
It
he's
makes a
done.
mockery of matchmaking, ego, money, and timing. It really does, because it just shows what's possible when the right amount of money is on the table. And the biggest promoter, I think we need to give him an award for 2024 was Turkey Al Sheikh, really.
I don't think we've seen this kind of run in boxing ever. Like it's unprecedented. The fights, the magnitude, the proper events, and we don't have to wait 5 years for a fight to sort of build and marinate. We'll go look. These two are the best, and we should look at that February 22nd card. We're going to touch on the calendar coming up. That February
Yeah,
22nd card.
I'm just pulling it up. Yeah, yeah.
That is as good a card as you will probably see ever in boxing. I would say. I don't think that's unfair saying that. Dimitri Bivol versus Artur Beterbiev on its own is good enough for me, kind of thing. When you see how good the first fight was, so yeah. So we'll start just next year. Obviously, the calendar's obviously filling up already. Excited for next year. There's plenty of big fights, and January actually starts quite quick for a change. Plenty to go at.
Yeah, I did a little snapshot, a screenshot of the fights. I've got it here. Where have I put it? It's quite extraordinary. Quite
Yeah,
extraordinary.
obviously the top end, Beterbiev Bivol, Dubois Parker. You've got Hamza Shiraz fighting Carlos Adames.
Well, we've got Jaya Pataya fighting on January the 8th
We have
against
first, yeah.
David Nika. And Nika, I spoke to Jaya, I had dinner with him at the opening of the Ring magazine in Riyadh, and that guy's quite up for it and a good seller. Noya Nui and Sam Goodman,
Yeah,
January 24th.
yeah.
Pacheco and Stephen Nelson on January 25th. Dalton Smith and
Same
Walid,
night.
same night. February the 1st, Benavides and Morel. I'm reading a list out here, but February the 1st, also Adam Azim, Sergei Lipinets, Clarissa Shields and Danielle Perkins the night after. February the 8th, Derek Chisora and Otto Wallin.
Yeah.
February 15th, Jack Catterall and Arnold Barboza. And then we're into that February 22nd card, which is just, Beterbiev and Bivol, just Dubois and Parker, Stevenson, Schofield, Adames and Shiraz. That'll be brilliant. Virgil Ortiz, Israel Madrimov. What a fight. Zhili Zhang and Agit Kabayev.
I love that fight.
Well, it really affects the top 10 in the division. That really does. And then Boatsi and Callum Smith on that card. And then March the 1st, Javonte Davis and Lamont Roach. Not a bad start to the year. We've got 2 months of action coming thick and fast there. Really, and I think as well that has been stimulated by Turkey Al Sheikh and Riyadh season as well.
Yeah. You've Callum Simpson as well out on the 11th.
Yes.
I think that's the first one to kick us off. His defence of his British and Commonwealth against Steve Woodall.
That Barnsley or not?
It's in Sheffield, the Cannon Medical Arena.
Oh, it's not in.
No. Nice compact arena, plenty of atmosphere. I think he's done all his tickets pretty much anyway. Like,
what's the arena?
The Cannon Medical Arena.
Oh, it's not the Forge.
No. I think there's been a few GBM shows there as well. It's a really nice sort of arena if you don't want to go to, you don't obviously put on the big ones as well, and especially January. can always be difficult in terms of tickets, but yeah, they've flown for that by all accounts. Um, what are you most looking forward to when you look at all that? Aside from the February 22nd card, what stands out for me is I think Benavidez and Morel is a terrific fight.
Yeah.
I think
What's
that,
the for me? God, come on. I mean, better be Evan Bivol, one of the best fights I've ever seen.
yeah,
The rematch of those two. I'm really looking forward to Buatsi and Callum Smith because that light heavyweight division in the UK has been such a slow burn. I think that will be fantastic to watch.
they're
Um,
all headline fights somewhere in the world. Like every one of them, you go could top a card and you go fair enough.
yeah, Kabayel and Zhang, as you say, and obviously Parker and Dubois on the same night. Four fighters in the top 10 in the world. Remove Fury and Usyk for now, and maybe Joshua. There's seven. And then other than that, it's Bacoli, Frank Sanchez, maybe, and someone else. Maybe Moses Itauma.
He's
Maybe Philip
fright.
Bogovic. He
He's
is frightening.
frightening, by the way. That kid, has he not turned 20 yet?
It was 22 days ago.
Yeah, that was that was
Feels
his.
only like yesterday that you turned 20. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
I
That,
think that there is an argument, even though boxing reasoning and the wizened old sages will say that he should be just brought along slowly. There is an argument by the end of next year, 2025, he may well be contesting a world title.
potential. I don't think that's too far fetched when you see the run he's on, and obviously he's just been in the ring with a guy that went 12 pretty much with a guy like Hergovich.
Well,
I
if
don't
they
think
put him in with the Hergovich next, right,
that's. I think that's a good step.
and they put him in with the Hergovich next, and they perhaps just kept him at that level for a couple more fights, he's going to be in world title contention. What we haven't seen him yet is under pressure, but he knows. We haven't seen him under pressure. Obviously, he must have been inspiring at some point with the main figures in the heavyweight division. But it's a great prospect to think that this is a young man who is Nigerian, Czechoslovakian, a Brit. Came here when he was 8 years old, 11 years ago with his parents, and that he is going to be potentially the takeover in heavyweight boxing. He's got to get by the likes of people like Daniel Dubois, though, and
Um,
but the reports for his sparring are just extraordinary.
if that man can take a punch and we see him under a bit of duress and pressure and comes out of it the other end. Wow, you've got the likes of Fabio Wardley as well, who's obviously on this run as well. Another one who's
Yeah,
flying at the
well,
minute.
imagine that fight, Wardley and
Oh, sign me up. What do you see? Last one from me. Have you seen the reports of Logan Paul and Conor McGregor in India for 250 million
yeah,
thing?
I did see that. The only thing that I put a big question mark was India.
Yeah, apparently it's been funded. I had the thing up actually. It's been funded. Apparently, I always wait and see how many people actually report on it before it's sort of just in the rumour mill. I believe Connor's puts on himself. The Mac Life have obviously that's his
As
public.
opposed to ringing most valuable promotions to ask them.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's Logan Paul, isn't it? So not Jake. It'd be Logan.
And
But
did they not promote him then?
no, I don't think so. No, I think that's just primarily Jake's entity and promotional company. But yeah, is it Draw Eyes? Is it just another show? It's saying it's an
I think
exhibition.
Jake Paul and Conor McGregor draws eyes. I don't think Logan Paul does. I mean, I did ask him when I was out there for Jake Paul and Mike Tyson if he'd be if he'd be coming back. He said for the right person, Conor McGregor would make some big noise. Um, but he's a big guy. He's bigger than his brother. So
He's huge. He does WWE, and you see him on there. He's a big guy. He's not
will it
small anymore.
happen? Will it happen? I don't know. I really don't know.
If what fight do you want to see this year that's not already been made? I know we've got some crackers, but the Ring Magazine they actually asked me this in Riyadh, and I want to know if yours matches up to mine.
Which fight would I like to see? Well, I'd like to see Gervonta Davis and Shaka Stevenson.
That's what I said.
I think that's one of the fights that we aren't getting that we'd like to see. I'd like to see Noya Nui in with like a featherweight like Nick Paul or someone like that, you
Yeah,
know.
I am. That's exactly the fight I said. I want to see Tank and Shakur. That
And
would
Canelo
be
and Canelo
and
and Tank.
Benavides. What?
No, Canelo and Crawford.
Yeah, over Benavides.
Yeah. And and um and Carl Froch and Jake Paul.
I would. I would love to see that fight. Hands down, right
Everyone
now.
would see
That
that fight.
yeah.
I mean, I'd like Carl to do it with one hand tied behind his back. His
Well,
left hand tied behind his back.
he's flying in Ifroch at the minute. I've got to give it to him. His YouTube channel's
I had a
absolutely
lot of fun with
flying.
him in Dubai, and I saw him again in Riyadh. And he said he came past the Talksport broadcast. I shoved the microphone up to him while we were doing the live event. And he said, "I'm actually enjoying it out here." By the way,
Yeah, how could
because
you
it is
not?
amazing out there, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm gonna say I think everyone when you come back and you see how good it is, people obviously think you're either trying to like you've got other agendas and this that and the other.
As Froch would say, "Oh, you're on Saudi coin."
Yeah, Saudi
But you're
bins.
not. You're just enjoying the massive event that it is.
Yeah, you speak as you find, I think, and yeah, the
Yeah.
events are ridiculous in a brilliant way. Gareth, took a lot of your time up as always, but I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
We'll catch up in the new year.
Look at us, bathed in a golden light this morning, coming through the garden onto the old silver sofa that looks golden.
Yeah,
Beautiful day. I've just come back from the Middle East again, or the Eastern Mediterranean, and it's lovely to come back to a beautiful day. And I am going to swim and cycle today, amongst doing a little bit of work. And I wish you and all Boxing Social subscribers, Lifesaver, a very, very Merry Christmas and a happy and prosperous New Year. I shall see you on the other side.
you shall. Happy New Year to you as well, pal. Gareth, appreciate your time. We will catch up again in the new year.